Hey, what's up YouTube? Boulder here, and I'm playing DCS 1.5. I'm going to give you my impressions of, well, DCS 1.5, tell you my opinions about it, and we will go from there. So, I am in the SU-25T. I have some munitions on the rack already. Nothing really too big, just some basic missiles to show you what it's capable of. And also to bring up an interesting point, one point that I really like about 1.5. But first, we should definitely talk about the graphics. It seems like not everything has been improved, but if you look at the grass, it definitely has been improved. The models have been improved as well. So we see the SU-25T, and let's get rid of that label as well. We definitely don't need that. Now, if you take a look, the scenery has actually really nice. It's definitely an improvement from what we had before, which is something I definitely enjoy, something I really like. And so far, it seems pretty good. Also, what I'm really impressed with is, let me put on the brakes. What I'm really impressed with is the capabilities of the engine, the Edge engine. Yeah, it's the Edge engine. I was trying to remember the name, and I got it right the first time. So Edge, it is the new game engine for DCS World. And what does it do differently? Well, first, it does make everything beautiful, that's for sure. The second thing that it does is that it actually improves the performance of the engine as well. And by that, I mean it prioritizes GPU over CPU. Older flight simulators, or pretty much every other flight simulator for that matter, prefers CPU over GPU. Which, in the end, if you're having the CPU doing all the work with the graphics, it just doesn't work. The CPU is way underpowered compared to the GPU. So that is a problem. This is why Eagle Dynamics changed that. I have an assumption, a theory, that the reason why the original DCS, the Lomac engine, prioritized CPU is because if you were to put make a Venn diagram out of PC gamers and flight simmers, they probably weren't that big back in 2006, which I think is when they came out with Lomac. So I'm assuming that that changed, and now we have something that actually values, an engine that values PC gamers. So, rejoice. And I'm also going to start revving up the engine. If you see any drops in frame rates, that is because I am using fraps. I get on average 100. Oh yeah, there is one thing, and this is probably because it's a beta. The sound. The sound when you have it all the way up to full throttle, for some reason, just simply doesn't work. I don't know why. I can't explain why, it just doesn't. But either way, I'm going to get up to speed and rotate. Get up to the ground. Bring the gear up. As you can tell, the sound is still there. Just not the engine sound, which kind of bugs me, but otherwise it's really nice. I mean, if you look at this, this is not taxing my video card at all. The only thing that's taxing my video card is fraps, which is ridiculous, and I try to not use it if I can get away with it. Just simple rule of thumb in Baldur's rulebook. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a target. The SU-25T is quite a nice little plane. It is definitely capable of, well, definitely capable of doing the job, I guess is the best way to put it. Alright, so, I'm going to turn on my targeting pod. Yeah, this is not night vision. You can get a pod that changes it to night vision, which works pretty well. I haven't tested that out on DCS 1.5, but something tells me I may not need to. Alright, so I'm going to head to this abandoned runway. And I'm going to get myself a target. Oh, would you look at here? There seems to be a Rogue Bradley right next to the runway. Okay, let's go ahead and take that thing out. I don't think that thing deserves to live. Let's slow ourselves down a little bit. Alright, turning the laser on. Just waiting for it to get in range. These are short-range missiles, to be honest, so I don't have much to say other than wow. Alright, rifle. And look at the smoke trail there. That is just downright beautiful, if you ask me. So we got that, and let's see if we can take this guy out too. Probably not. Nope. Oh well, you'll live. For now. But yeah, as it stands, that is actually pretty cool. What that also means is that this might be a figment of my imagination, but I do believe that the physics have changed as well. I mean, one thing that should be pretty clear are the rockets. Now, the rockets don't fly in a straight line. And for the longest time, whenever I saw old Soviet footage of all these missiles just going all over the place, I thought, who would ever want that? I mean, what's the point? I mean, it's so inaccurate. You're pretty much just, well, throwing crap around. However, that's not exactly the case, as I learned. Now, the reason for that is because, think about it this way. Let's assume you have a shotgun, like a, I don't know, double-aught buck. With that buckshot, you will have a spread. And as you have that spread, it's also going to inflict more damage. Imagine if that buckshot stayed where it was. Well, it's no better than a slug. And with DCS World, it's kind of the same way. You want that spread, and I found that very interesting because I find it a lot easier to hit targets with it. And that's one thing that I really do enjoy. It's like the biggest improvement that I have seen so far, and I absolutely love it. Let's go ahead and fly inverted for a second. And let's zoom to our 3 victims over here. Let's slow down. Go over this guy. And it just spreads. That is absolutely wonderful. And it looks like I completely obliterated 2, and I wasn't expecting to take out 2, I was just expected to take out the 1. I am absolutely happy about this little change in physics. How it just spreads out, because normally it would just stay in a straight line, and honestly, who the hell wants that? I don't. So it's good that we have that. But yeah, that's pretty much DCS 1.5 in a nutshell. The sound absolutely sucks. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I can do that's for Eagle Dynamic to do, but it's not the end of the world. Also, one thing that I should mention that's also not the end of the world, but should be brought to anyone's attention really, is that the frame rate drops while you're on outside view, usually down to 40 frames per second. Mind you, I am running a GTX 970, an i7 4690K, and a, well, 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM, so I shouldn't be having that many issues. So it seems like a bit of optimization issues that need to be handled. Of course, you are seeing some frame rate drops. I don't know if that has to do with fraps. However, it does happen with or without the recording software, so keep that in mind. Oh yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take out this guy. Who needs him? I certainly don't. God, that is satisfying. Also, when you seem to get closer to the ground, it starts to pause. It doesn't matter if you're recording or not. So that's a little weird, but again, nothing too terrible. Just be aware that it might cause you to crash. Yeah. So I guess that means that it is something to be aware about. Just, you know, keep that in mind and you should be in good. Anyway, that should be it for today. That's my impression of DCS World. However, I am also going to be doing some multiplayer as well on the 104, so look for that. But with that said, you guys have a nice day.